Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 4 of the Post-Emo-Phase podcast. Before we get into anything, I would like to address the elephant in the room.
What's up? I'm fat.
No, the fact that we haven't streamed this in about 4 weeks, and I apologize for that. There is a explanation. I will say it later. It is reasonable, I promise.
It's not reasonable at all.
Because this is a return to the series. And a return to podcasting.
Really.
We don't have a special guest, but we do have a special episode. In order to compensate for our lack of a special guest,
I believe we know how to compensate.
Zach came here in person, so we're really good at compensating. So we'll have us two here. It'll be the first time Zach's face will be on the podcast. And as always, you can follow him on his Twitch, melon__wizard. Please do that for me, for
I'm
him.
begging.
For me, though, I care more about his channel growth, I feel like, than he does.
This is true.
It is my side project, my passion project.
My side project to get me to affiliate.
Yeah. It'll be great. I am excited. He's at 39 followers. He's close. 11 followers away. And one great stream. One Minecraft stream. And you get to affiliate. All you need to do is stream Minecraft. 20 viewers. 20 viewers, brother.
All death before that.
All right. Well, for those of you who don't remember, we like to start these podcasts off with a couple songs, give a radio show kind of vibe. And remember, if you're subbed to my Twitch account, you can suggest songs. This week, both of them were my choice because I didn't get any sub suggestions. And the first one is a song that won't get the VOD muted, once again, by the lovely Glitch City. So let's get into that, shall we? All right, we're back. Hope you enjoyed that song. It was a good fun time. And that is it for the radio show, quote unquote, portion of the podcast. We're looking hot. We're looking great. Before we get into any of the topics today, I would like to remind everyone, all 0 viewers watching right now on Twitch, that we are still willing to read YouTube comments and share Blackboard submissions during this segment of the podcast.
Is that a topic?
However, we don't have any to read this time, sadly. I know my place.
Because no one loves us.
Yeah, I know my place in the YouTube and Twitch world.
Yeah.
If you would like your comment to be read on
Right
live
down
stream,
here.
however, if you want your comment read, leave one on the YouTube video version of this recording. I'll upload it tonight after the stream is done. And if you would like your Blackboard submission shown on the podcast, you can draw a submission on my Twitch page. I do not have to be live for you to draw the submission. If you just draw it, send it, it will go my way. I'll be able to review it. If I like it, I can accept it. I accept most of them anyways. Not all of them get featured on the podcast, but a lot of them just get featured on my page. And you can look at other people's drawings as well. So it's a really cool way for people to share.
A pretty good something.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty nice one.
Whatever it is, this is something.
It's a fun way for people to share art on my page. I think it's cool. So now that we're done with all of the shorter segments, it's on to the long conversations. I have 2 that I want to get to, and then we're gonna go to Zach's conversation, and then we're gonna make things up after that if we still have time. So I got fired. Posted a video about it on YouTube, but I did not explain in great detail what happened, so I figured this would be a good time to talk about the entire story of me getting fired. So I started a new job in landscaping, and that's actually the real reason why we haven't done this podcast in a while, is work. I mean, I was just beat every day after work.
Just time machine through that work, idiot.
I used the time machine. I should have used the time machine, I say.
Simply.
But I was working for a month for this guy. And in fairness, I wasn't able to work long for him. That's not entirely my fault. I was looking for a summer job and couldn't find one until my 3rd application. So the first 2 jobs I applied for, I didn't get. So then I finally got a job with a landscape company. And the first day I worked, I told him what day I would be leaving to go back to college. So about a week and a half ago, I put in my 2 weeks notice for him. And you look so intrigued. I put in my 2 weeks notice and told him that it was because, like I said, the first day of work, I had to go back to college. Obviously, I'm not starting college, but I'm moving into my apartment, which is an hour away. I'm not going to drive an hour and 20 minutes every day to go to work. And he seemed visibly upset, even though I gave him the warning on the first day of work. But he was visibly upset, didn't say anything. So we cut the first lawn of the day. And after we're done cutting the lawn, weed whacking, and blowing all the grass, off the sidewalks and such, he notices that we don't have a gas can with us to refill the mowers and weed whackers with, which my coworker, or ex-coworker, Martine, forgot about. So he's driving back to the shop, which is only 5 minutes away, and he's livid that we had to waste 5 minutes of our workday, 10 minutes round trip, to pick up a gas can. He's cussing out Martine, super angry, and my boss was one of those people who, if he's angry at one person, he's angry at everyone. So after he's done cussing out Martine about forgetting a gas can and making him drive back, he turns to me and in like a quick second basically says, and you know what, if you want to leave the company so bad, fuck it, you're going home now. So when we got back to the shop, I got my car and I drove home. And he basically has not talked to me since, which is funny because he hasn't given me my final check in the mail since, and I've messaged him multiple times about that. I will actually be driving there, possibly Wednesday or Thursday morning of this week, to, in person, ask him for my check. Because I've texted him and called him about the lack of my final check coming in the mail, like he told me it would. So I'm going to meet him in person and confront him about it. And if that doesn't work, then we're going to have some problems, because I need that check to pay for rent. I have the rent money when my check comes in. I have more than enough money for rent when that check comes in. But it is yet to happen. So, yeah, it kind of sucks. So, yeah, overall, I got fired because my boss was in a bad mood about something I didn't even do, and he's just an asshole, simply. It was a fun time. I don't miss working for him. He was the worst boss I've ever worked for across the 4 jobs I've worked.
3 of them being landscaping, right?
3 of them being manual labor, yeah. My first job was hardscaping, which is basically like brickwork. That's my favorite job of all time, still. because it was my nicest boss yet. Second job was landscaping with a different company. That went well. My boss wasn't too bad. My hours were nice. I was working more hours there round trip, but less hours a day. With the company I was just working with for a month, I was working 40 hours a week, but 4 10-hour days a week. The old company, I was working like 40 hours a week, plus sometimes if I worked Saturday and I wanted to work Saturday on 8-hour shifts. And I like that schedule a lot more personally. But yeah, I worked with that landscaping company, and then that stopped being a thing when my boss went to jail for touching kids. So I lost that job.
Sorry, it's just the funniest presentation every time.
It really is. I then went to college, and I worked a semester as a ref for intramural sports. I refed indoor soccer, outdoor soccer, football, and dodgeball. I think those are the 4 I did. I forget sometimes. I did that for a semester, but I stopped working there. I quit when they were giving me, on average, 6 hours a week, at best 9 hours a week of work, at minimum wage. It wasn't worth it. So I quit, and then I worked for this landscaping company for a little more than a month. I wanted it to be a month and a half, like I told him, but he didn't want that, apparently. So I worked there for a month and a week. And now here we are, unemployed again. Oops.
Fiddlesticks bamboozled again.
So yeah, I mean, it's really funny because I feel like my boss is purposely trying to play me. I mean, obviously he is by not paying me my final check. He's trying to drag it out as long as possible, and there's even a chance when I go to confront him in person, he's just not going to give it to me because he could. I was on payroll. I wasn't paid under the table. I was on payroll. So we can't avoid it unless he goes in and illegally deletes my hours. So he has no record of it. But I don't think he wants to do that because he has 1 review on Yelp for like 4 stars. And I mean, the 17 1-star reviews I could give him would easily kill that. Plus any other review website there is. Because he's a very old guy. He's about 60, 70. He has no social media for his company. So the only way someone can find out about it, not through a website, not through Facebook, not through Twitter, Instagram, the only way they can find out about it is through those review sites like Yelp, and I forget what the other one's called. I think it's Better Business, something like that.
I think it's Letgo, actually. You just sell your entire business on Letgo.
But all I know is, with the help of myself, my friends, you're fine. With the help of myself, my friends, and my family, I don't think his business will survive much longer. Which I don't know how it survived this long anyways without a website, a Facebook account, or anything. You know, maybe people like an angry old Italian man. And I hate saying he literally looked like I'm sorry, every Italian looks either like a mobster or a weasel/turtle mix in a human body. And he was the latter, easily so. And I hate talking crap on my own like ethnicity because I'm majoritively Italian. That's the race that composes most of me. I know my skin tone really proves it, but shut up, die, drown.
Literally translucent.
Yeah. Even though I don't look like it, I'm majoritively Italian, and I hate talking crap on my own race. But he was the worst I've ever met. He does not deserve love or joy or happiness. So I'm glad I'm not working there anymore, and I need to find a new job when I move into my apartment, somewhere around my apartment. Somewhere close, too, because I don't have a car yet, so I need to walk to work. Probably just work at, like, the subway or maybe the gas station.
But I don't even know which way it is.
Stream keeps lagging, VIP? Yeah, as you said that, it's just starting to slow down. But it's coming back. Not really.
Maybe.
We can wait a little bit. Literally, I like how as you join the stream, things just die. I hate it. Leave it to my internet to just be the worst. Wow, this is crazy. I cannot wait to move into the apartment because I'll have an Ethernet port there for me. I'll have Ethernet for me. Speedtest.net will not work. Alright, we might just continue the podcast off stream and on recording. Alright, due to my internet being garbage, I cannot wait to move into this apartment and have an Ethernet port. Because, honestly, I feel like that would fix the majority of my problems. But, But yeah, I'm recording right now, and because I still have the live stream tab open, I can see my internet. It's just jumping in between 700 kilobytes a second, which is already laggy enough on Twitch, to 0, which is no stream at all on Twitch. So I guess I'm not streaming today. I love that fact. I love not being able to control that fact, and we'll just continue the podcast from here. So last thing we talked about was me getting fired. Next thing we're going to talk about podcast setups, and more specifically, Sugar Pine 7's podcast setup, because it's clean. And if you don't know, we've talked about it a little bit. Zach and I are going to be moving into an apartment together next year. So the apartment I'm living in this year has a 1-year lease. And I'll live through that entire 1-year lease, and I don't plan to re-up the lease and redo the lease. Instead, I'm going to be looking for a new apartment. With Zach, I already have the complex for the most part.
This will be the living room.
Yeah.
This will be the living room.
That's the point I was trying to get at, is when we're living in the apartment, as long as the third guy we're living with is chill with it, I would love for like our living room or either of our bedrooms to have a podcast set up like that, especially if I've grown enough on stream and on Twitch in the next year to like be able to afford stuff like that. Because that would be obviously that's a set. That is a plywood set, like they had delivered to them, and they have a very big office, very, very big, to set up a mini set. But it still looks clean. It looks good, and I would love something similar to it, personally. I don't know. I just think it's so clean. I think podcast sets are getting more and more. What's the word? Popular and just cool. Like Cow Chop's podcast set is really clean. Sugar Pine 7's is. So is like the H3H3 podcast setup. They have an entire room of their house dedicated to it. Or like the Joe Rogan podcast. All of them look really nice, and I would love to at one point get to that level. So I don't know. I just figured I'd bring it up. It'd be fun.
This is on the wish list.
Yeah.
This and a dope ass coffee table.
Yeah, that's all we need for the apartment, Zach.
Nothing. We'll sit on the floor and sleep on the floor and eat off the floor.
See, I'm very excited to live together a year from now.
Oh yeah.
Especially because it's a nice complex. It's a really nice they look like row homes, like townhomes, basically. They don't look like crappy little apartments. It almost looks like a condo at that, but sadly it's not. I would be able to afford that anyways.
Condo now. It's condominium.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's a cool idea. So I have high hopes. And most of them will probably be crushed, but that's beside the point. Zachary.
Yes.
You have a story about your garbage coworker that you've wanted to tell for like
stories.
3 weeks, but we haven't done the podcast for like 4 weeks. So continue. Go.
So there's this lady I work with, Suzanne, who used to work in produce. Now she works as janitorial staff, which is where everyone who's garbage goes to work when they're garbage. But basically, this lady Suzanne decides to do a bunch of stupid shit all the time, contingent upon the fact that it will probably annoy everyone around her. For instance, she only ever stocked bananas at Walmart, and while that's something that does take a lot of time and energy to stock and maintain because bananas sell like that, they sell like 3 snaps and then it's over.
Thanos snaps. All the bananas in Walmart are gone.
It's not worth having only one person on it all day long as their only task. So she wastes a ton of time designated towards everything in life, really. She also like gets in your way and gets pissed off if you do anything that is her job, even though like you may need to. So like I needed a banana box to put stuff in to throw it away. And so I went and I worked some bananas to get a banana box, and she thanks me, but in like a super rude, aggressive way, so I don't respond and just leave with my banana box because I need a banana box.
Of course.
Banana box.
We all need a banana box in life.
And so she's talking to her department manager later, and she's like, yeah, he's just stuck up. I'm like, okay, whatever. Weird old lady.
Continue.
Anyway, where was I? Suzanne. So she thinks I'm stuck up, And I was, a few days after this, pulling the frozen dairy truck alone, solo, which is 10 pallets that day. 4 in dairy, 6 in frozen. And she comes while I'm halfway through a frozen truck trying to pull pallets and sets up shop right in front of me where I'm working to put cardboard in the baler to throw away trash. And I'm just like, no, go ahead, totally, 100%, this is fine. This isn't like a time-sensitive thing at all where if I don't get them in 20 minutes, we have to technically throw it away. And she's like, okay, and keeps throwing away her trash. And she's like, one box at a time. So I go in and I pick up all the boxes and put them in the baler and crush it. And she's still not gone. I'm like, all right, cool. So I wait for her to leave. And then her coworker, Nicole, is like, hey, I can take a pallet for you if you need it. I'm like, thank you so much. Suzanne is useless. Kill me now.
Yeah, she seems like someone who doesn't deserve to have a job in any field.
No, yeah. And she's like 1 billion years old. And she gets offended by like the stupidest shit too. Like someone said thank you, ma'am, and she started crying. She's like, if only they knew how old I really was. It's like,
Jeez.
honey, stop that. Just stop that. And don't do your makeup like you're a clown. She wears so much blush. That's all.
I mean,
Can I tell the story about squaring up?
about what?
Carlos.
What did he do?
So I was another time I was pulling a frozen dairy truck, and one of the associates, who's an apartment manager now somehow, walks by and he's like, "Excuse me." And so as I'm getting out of his way, I'm like, "No excuses." And he walks like 6 feet, stops, turns around, and starts to square up. And I'm just like, first off, no. Secondly,
we'll not be fighting at Walmart.
You are totally jacked and ripped, but you look like you couldn't win a fight to save your life. What are you doing? Get out.
Was he one of like those type of fighters?
Yeah.
He looked like he had no good stance.
He's just like.
Me too. That's how I fight. I fight like a beta fish. Easily so.
Yeah. And my boss, who's like easily the most ripped, jacked, strong man in the entire store, is like, dude, what? Like, you would have taken him out easy.
Yeah, I mean,
this is great. I love working at Walmart, and I don't hate the people I work with at all.
How do I take this off?
No, you gotta.
There's an air bubble in my screen protector for my phone, and it's making
How did that
me
happen?
so angry.
How did that get there?
I don't know, dude. I really don't. I don't even know how to take my own case off because it's like an OtterBox. It's literally like.
So I'll handle this, and you just run the podcast.
Yeah. All right. So those are some fun 2 stories. I wish I had stories like that. I just got fired. The rest of my
that's the entirety of all my stories.
Every other day I worked at that company was just super boring, trimming rich people's hedges, the usual, you know. So actually, there's a couple quick topics I'm gonna get out of the way, and then I'm probably gonna end the podcast early because we can't live stream it, and I want to live stream these podcasts, but the internet in my house is so bad right now. So I have like every time we do a podcast, I have an array of topics lined up, and we don't get to all of them ever. So I'm gonna do the quick ones this podcast, and the next podcast we'll get to the longer ones. So first things first, Zach got me for my birthday some Zelda stuff. It was a keychain, pins, notebook, and pen. And the pen that came with the notebook is a fountain pen. I've never used a fountain pen before.
I didn't even know it was a fountain pen.
Oh my lord, I love it. I'm just so happy you got it for me. It's just so clean. It feels so nice. And it really never has a problem where like it runs out of ink or anything. Like regular pens where you have to like
shake it.
Yeah, you have to shake it or lick it or like just
lick it. You know what you do.
That works with ballpoint pens.
Yeah,
all
not
right.
Gel pens. Gel pens, it just makes you feel yucky.
True. Or like scratch through a piece of paper trying to get it to work again. It's just clean. It's such a nice pen. I love feeling posh in certain ways in life because I'm so poor. So that like having things like a nice PC setup right now, for example, makes me feel a little bit better about myself, and having things like a fountain pen makes me feel a little bit better about myself. It's why I was hoping to work my final 2 weeks at that company because, like I said, I made enough money to pay rent and upgrade my PC setup. However, I wanted to make a little bit more money for some extra spending cash, and because I wanted to buy a nice watch to feel cool. I don't know. It would just be
Movement
fun.
or Vincero?
Vincero. I was going to go with Vincero. Because they have one that I really like at Vincero. It's the Emerald Marble. Is it gone?
I think it's gone.
Thank you. Zach fixed the air bubble. I tried doing it with my... I was about to put my credit card up on the screen. Give away all my
Here
information.
is my information. Steal from me.
I was trying to do it with my credit card. It wasn't working. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a bummer that I can't have a nice watch now because I got fired. Rip. Another short topic we can talk about is my dad, who subscribed to my YouTube channel and subscribed to my Twitch as well. He could suggest songs if he really wanted to.
But he doesn't.
He recently complained about the length of these podcasts. And I was so confused because I don't think he's ever watched a podcast before mine. And mine are relatively short. Episode 1 was an hour and 10 minutes. Episode 2 was 50 minutes. Episode 3 was like an hour and 5 minutes. That is short for a podcast. This one's going to be probably less than 50 minutes. Maybe 50 minutes, roughly.
Hello? I don't have a car, lady. I don't... there's no warranty on my car because I don't have a car.
I think it's a computer.
Ma'am, I don't need a courtesy call to close... Just close out my file, please. Please. Thank
Jeez.
you.
All right. Where was... Oh, yes. My dad complained about the length of these podcasts because I'm pretty sure he's never seen a podcast before. Like most, on average, I'd say the average podcast is about 2 hours, right?
Yeah, H3 lasts like 2 to 3.
Yeah, the Seth... Or I almost said Seth. Oof. Yikes.
The
Joe
Jake
Rogan.
Gyllenhaal.
The Joe Rogan podcast is usually about the same, 2 hours. I don't know. I think this podcast is a good length, especially with the segments we do and the segments we want to do in the future. It leaves time for everything that we want to do and everything that we can do. So I like it. But what was even funnier is I'm having this conversation with my dad out in the living room about how long the podcast should be. And my mom, from the kitchen, starts backing him up. And she's like, well, can't you just make them shorter? I'm like,
Yeah, let me talk for 30 minutes about one topic
Yeah.
and then nothing else for the entire week.
Pretty much. Let's do 30-minute podcast, boys, easily. I don't know. I don't get it. But this one honestly might become a shorter podcast with how screwed my internet is today. I just think that's so funny, man. So we were just playing Fortnite and I wasn't lagging that bad. But then again, it makes sense because I was getting a little bit of lag in the last game we played and then we streamed. So, long story short, Fortnite isn't worth it. Fortnite's the reason we lost this podcast. Fortnite is the reason.
Played Fortnite.
Fortnite's the reason we were sabotaged and weren't able to stream this
Sabotage.
one live on Twitch.
They DDoSed us so we wouldn't win, and now we're not even playing anymore. Come on, man, this is absurd.
I didn't know you were a mumble rapper.
I'm a mobile rapper now.
And then,
Word.
I guess the last topic. Oh yeah, two more. All right, first of the two is sleep paralysis. I don't know if you've ever had it. I had never had it before until about a month and a half ago, and I've had it twice since. About a month and a half ago. First time I woke up, it was like 8 a.m., and my arm from the elbow right here, my nice little nub, up, was completely, like, couldn't move it, paralyzed, ragdoll.
My left leg has went totally numb.
I would lift my arm up, and it would just, like, sorry, that's a bad angle. I would lift it, and it would just, like, hang there. And I couldn't move it for 2 minutes. I was terrified. I was so scared, and I finally got, like, movement with it. It was fine. It didn't happen again for a while. I then go down to vacation on South Carolina. I did 2 vlogs while there. You should watch both of them on YouTube. And while on vacation, one of the mornings I was there, I woke up about 10, and I couldn't move any of my body. And I could, like, barely breathe at best. And after about a 30-minute struggle, I, like, coughed up spit and air and, like, heaved over onto my side because I was laying on my back. And I don't want to ever experience that again, personally. It's been, what, a week since I was on vacation? And I haven't, it's been a week since the last time I had sleep paralysis and over a month since the first time I had it. So I'm hoping those were 2 for 2. Never again, as the dogs just decide to bark at everything and anything that walks within a 5-mile radius of this house. But I don't know if you've ever had that. I don't think you have.
I have not, and the only like thing of sleep, I've never heard of the halfway thing that you had. I've always heard of like the, hey, I woke up and I can't move, and there's some demon in the goddamn corner of my room just watching me.
Yeah, I've never heard any stories about someone like having it in a specific part of their body, but it was literally just my hand,
just the nub.
hand and down. All this could not move it, and I was terrified. So, finally, I've been hinting at it a lot, but this will be the last podcast from this room, this setting, this background. The background will probably be a little bit of the same as I'm bringing this and all those with me.
And me, he's bringing me.
Yeah, of course. But I'm moving into my apartment within the next week. So if there's no podcast next week, you know why. The time machine, obviously. But I think the next podcast will probably be 2 weeks from now in my apartment. And Zach will be on Discord once again. And we'll keep using his nice little picture to represent the fact that he's in Discord with
I
me.
need to make a new one of those.
I like your picture personally.
Yeah, I gotta do it again and make the melon like a better angle.
It's a very clean melon. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's like a.
Regardless, sorry for the fact that this wasn't fully live streamed. We streamed the first half of the podcast on Twitch, and then my internet died, so we just recorded the second half on. So I apologize. Can't do anything right. This is what I get for taking a month break.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Really. This is my punishment for taking a month break from the podcast, but we'll hopefully see you all next time from my apartment and from Zach's Discord. And until then,
chilling in my basement.
Yeah. I mean, that's not bad for you. You have almost an entire basement to yourself, and you're only paying $200 a month for rent.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's a basement kind of, I don't know.
Basically, I walk around on a concrete floor all day at work, and then I come home to walk around on a concrete floor.
It's a give and a take, but
my knees are gone.
It's a $200 fee though, which is a really low.
A $200 fee to get my knees destroyed.
Yeah, but that's a low rent. That's low rent.
No, yeah, that's really low. It's just I can't handle.
The apartment you'll be living in next year with me is $400 a month. So
yeah, I can
better be ready. Better be ready,
I can
buddy.
Easily,
buddy
Simply.
boy.
Simply.
Which, by the way, is so annoying. I guess we'll rant until I finally turn off the video. The apartment I'm living at for 1 year, my rent is $497 a month because it is owned by campus, and the campus-owned apartments are mad expensive. And you would be saying to yourself, well, why don't you just live off campus? Because I'm not allowed to until I get a certain number of credits. So the way my school does it is when you first go, you have to live in the dorms unless you can commute. And you have to be close to commute. They don't let a lot of people do long commutes unless you really fight the system. Like, your commute has to be short or none at all. So they try to, like, for me, my commute would have been an hour, so they made me live in the dorms. So my first and second year, had to live in the dorms. Third year, I can only live in a campus, university-owned apartment. It's still off campus. It's like 2 blocks away, but it's owned by the university. And then senior year, I'm finally allowed to live in a third-party owned apartment. And basically, I can live wherever I want. I don't have to live in the campus owned, which is so funny because the apartment I'm living in now, it's a nice living room, a nice kitchen size, but the bathrooms and the bedrooms are small. And I have 3 roommates. So 4 bedrooms, I'm in one of them, and I have 3 people in the rest of them. So I have 3 roommates, small bedroom, but nice living room and bathroom. And I have to pay $497 a month. The apartment we're planning on living in senior year, my senior year, his 4th gap year.
What up?
That apartment has 2 floors, a bigger living room, bigger kitchen, bigger bedrooms, and it's $400 a month. So I'll be saving $97 every month. I just can't wait till senior year, to say the least. That is the example of why you should try your hardest not to live in a campus-owned apartment, but it's also cheaper than the dorms, so I didn't want to stay in the dorms. It just sucks that I'm forced to live in a university-owned apartment because they just jack up the prices for no good reason. But I'll deal with it. I'll manage. I have enough money for rent, pending when I get my last check from my boss. If I get my last check from my boss. If not, bye.
We'll just cease to exist, both of us.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. Have a nice day. Thank you for watching on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, thank you for finishing the podcast. I feel bad again not streaming it, but what can you do?
Lots of stuff.
We'll be back later, hopefully.
Maybe.
2 weeks. 2 weeks from
Probably
now, you should
not.
see another podcast. I love you all, and goodbye.
It's gonna be a month.
Hey, brother.